This is where you go down to that spiral of where it starts not to make sense anymore.
Yeah, like I said, it's starting to not make sense anymore. But this is just me
You are not
criticizing, like,
making sense. I mean, like I said,
yeah,
overthinking things.
overthinking things too. But it's like the way how I'm wording this is the fact too, that, like, when they make this distinction about like additive. All right. Good evening to another night of this recording session between me and Victor here. I'm your host, Brian, and yeah. What a lame intro I did there. Fuck.
As more you even introduced me, look at that.
Yes, I did. I just said your name, Victor, as just me and Victor here. That was it.
This point even introduced me.
No. But yes, with my co host, Victor, right? So,
No.
oh, oh, this is what I get whenever I try to just comply with whatever you ask for now, huh?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, damn it. Speaking of compliance, too, for something to before we dive into today's topic, too, I am in this case, am very much interested in 3D printing, where I do own one myself. I keep up with all the other stuff that's going on, new technologies, and if anything, I'm actually loving the fact that new products of 3D printers are making it a lot more accessible for people to start on this hobby. Now, mind you, I would also be the one to tell Victor to get his own, but if anything, I would see that
Hell
as
no.
still unnecessary because I can still do it because at least I have more use about it too. And if he needs anything, he can just ask me and I'll do it for him. So,
No, I literally have no need to print anything.
sure. I mean, there's that one time you did ask me to print you
Okay,
some.
once.
Yeah.
Once.
Okay.
That doesn't justify me buying like a $500 plus
I,
dollar 3D
I know.
printer.
I know. Like I said, if anything, I still wouldn't, at least in my personal reason, I wouldn't go out there to do so unless you really want to learn how to do 3D modeling, how to do like rapid like hardware prototyping, all that type of stuff. Like, 3D printing is something that like it's actually fun to have if you're an engineer. Like you get to do shit too. You can actually use what you learned in fucking school to actually design something in real life now without all these other things too. Hell, if you're actually crazy about it too, you can actually 3D print your own injection molding too for other stuff too, even though that doesn't make sense when you have your own 3D printer to do that anyways. Regardless, I've learned a lot of things about 3D printing where it's very fun and it's actually really cool to see a community that supports that too. But you know who doesn't like 3D printing? Apparently California government.
California doesn't like anything, so I'm not surprised.
Yeah. Okay. So, how, in this case, I made this statement before where like I'm not going to be a little bit political about this. So, how the fuck is me talking about California government not being political? Well, because I'm going to flip it on you, saying that because this is about from our previous topic of privacy control of your own sensitive data. So what does this have to do with anything? So when I was reading this too, the news of this has sounded so absurd, but it also got me very concerned about it too because of how easily pushed out this piece of legislation was. So I will give you at least a quick summary rundown of what is currently happening on this. As of now, too, once this bill passes in that state governments too, it is going to have to require everyone that owns a 3D printer to register their printers effectively to the government. Otherwise, you could effectively be charged with a misdemeanor or a felony if you fail to comply with a lot of these things. Now, why are they doing this? They stated in their bill that like they were trying to at least, or no, this is their attempt to try to enforce some type of gun control, especially nowadays with 3D printed ghost guns. Which, to be very fair, as someone that's part of that, we do see that as an actual problem here. But I don't know what that solution is. But clearly, this solution is not it. With the way how this is broadly like attacking effectively the 3D printing community here. So I'm just gonna go out here about this. I feel like I'm going insane. The more I read this bill, Victor, the more it feels like they don't know what the hell they're saying at all of what
When do
we
they
do.
ever? I mean, honestly, when does any government ever know what they're saying?
I know. So we're going to do a lot of back and forth about this stuff too, because at least for right now, these types of bills and regulations that are being pushed out is only happening in states like Washington, California, Colorado, and New York. So for that only small political thing, it's mostly the blue states. Now, I will at least give the devil's advocate take about this. I do agree in some ways too that the government was going to crack down on the 3D printing space too whenever the 3D printed ghost guns were becoming a thing too. take, for example, fucking Luigi Mangione assassination of the United Healthcare CEO. And there's already so many videos to show how he allegedly uh, shot the CEO with a 3D printed gun. It's only alleged, as apparently that case is still ongoing. Now, mind you, all of the created videos of this 3D printed gun, it is almost exactly frame perfect to how that video from the assassination took place. So it does insinuate that it was a 3D printed gun with all the other accessory attachments with it that are also vice versa 3D printed. Now, coming back from that, do I think the government should answer something about 3D printed ghost gun? Yes. Is this the way to do it? Absolutely not. Because of how fucking broad they make this language be here. So, because how
Yeah,
broad
that's
we
the
talk.
issue. Look,
Yeah.
this is not just related to 3D printers.
Yes.
When the government is trying to crack down on something, it's very hard to narrow down specifically what is the problem.
Right.
Which is why there's always a blanket law to cover every situation possible. That also means for people like you who use 3D printers for normal use cases, you're also affected.
Yeah.
So that's the issue. The main issue is that the government can't possibly understand this in depth to a point where they can narrow down a specific problem.
Right. Now, they're trying to keep this as saying that, like, oh, we're not going to make you entirely make it seem like when you own a 3D printer, it's going to be illegal. We're going to push precedents that the companies are just going to have ways to implement some type of way to register or to like scan your 3D print files so that you're not printing illegal gun parts. This is going to be a load of things here to how I will criticize that too. Because firstly,
yeah, well, it's the same thing with it's the same exact thing with what you call it, the whole ID thingy,
right?
With like Discord and everything.
Yeah, like digital ID and whatnot too. Do we think that it's a good thing? Absolutely
it's never
not.
A good thing. But I'm saying like it's the exact same thing.
Yeah. Oh my god, the whole digital ID shit too. I think we talked a lot about it in this case, like trying to keep your data as private as best you can too. But man, this makes it even more impossible to do so too. Because here's one of the things that I will criticize the way how it's being done about this is that you're giving the ability to these companies to be like, oh, they're gonna have to figure out some ways to like help the, in this case, check if what you're printing is not gonna be like part of like an illegal parts list. One, how do you realistically do that in terms of like scanning technology too? Some people say, oh, they can use like AI algorithms to do that too. You know, there's many cases too where false positives can happen too, and it will just be like, I'm just printing a screw, but that screw can be used into building a gun together. And it's like, what? And it's just, it gets a very like insane the more like you start tackling on this case. Like, what do you classify as like a gun part then too? Because by the ATF standards here, this is based on the ATF's definition, the only part that makes a gun is the lower receiver part, which houses the trigger and the ammo capacities or ammo holster and whatnot too. So that is what they consider as part of the gun. Everything else, fuck if I know, could be whatever.
Correct.
So it's like, as long as no one is printing a lower receiver, that is the case. But let's take, for example, because I was looking into this too. What if that person wants to build a fucking 3D printed BB gun? Will the software be able to detect that?
No, that's not the point.
Yeah, and it's just like,
it's a gun.
Yeah.
A BB gun is a gun. That's the problem.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the thing about it too, is that like you are effectively like, I know what these guys are trying to target, in this case illegal ghosts, like, you know, actual bullet discharging firearms. But when you classify in this case that they're gonna have to figure out which one is a gun part, you're also going to be targeting that too. Hell, look at the Nerf blaster community too that loves the 3D printing technology. They're making their own custom Nerf blasters that look hella good. But I guarantee you, if they try to roll out some similar software that detects all this stuff too, that entire community is going to be fucking die when it comes to like them wanting to touch 3D printing. Oh, and mind you, this doesn't even revolve around 3D printing, because they say under the bill, if you manufacture a part using additive manufacturing, which includes 3D printer, or subtractive manufacturing, which includes CNC, laser, or digital or computer aided design that allows you to like build stuff. And it's like, what are we doing here? Because now you're not even targeting hobbyists, you're literally targeting like actual industrial complexes that, you know, make a living building parts.
That is not true.
Well,
Yeah,
sure.
they're definitely not targeting companies because they have
True.
what's the best way of saying a permit to
Yeah.
make these guns.
Yeah, they do have a permit to make these guns. Yes, I'm just saying too, the ones that aren't making gun parts too, that just some reason now they're gonna have to register their equipment to just do all this stuff too, and
Yeah,
this is gonna lead into my other point that at least I have a
see,
big
I
criticism
think
about.
every single time when something like this comes up, it's always everybody always overthinks about these things.
Right, and mind you too, we do got to think about the worst case scenarios about a lot of these things too, because for most part too, do I even trust the government being this competent in enacting any policy that they do? This is me, no political takes about it. No, I don't always trust it.
Yeah, that's fine,
Yeah,
but that doesn't mean they're that dumb.
yeah, like I see where they're coming from when they ever are writing this too, but I it feels like they are grossly misinformed about how any of this tech works.
True, they are.
But like I said too, the other issue that I have too, that I feel like what these types of language that the bill is providing for too, is my case about it. Whenever I have a feeling, or whenever I have personal opinions about companies having more control about like your products now, they can purposely, for in this case state compliances too, they will just say, hey, you're running in this case an older model of our products too, and it won't support our software updates. So we are just going to brick your device because you cannot down in this case you can't use our printer unless you have our latest updated software. And if you don't, we'll just brick it so that you're forced to buy a new one. And this doesn't have to apply to 3D printers. This could apply to a lot of other machinery that helps manufacture parts using computer designs. Now, will I think they would ever go down that route? I don't really know, but I don't trust the possibility that they have our good intentions at heart. Yeah. So this is just me like genuinely terrified of the whole thing that like I like even for me right now, I'm only terrified about this too because I live in a state too. We all live in a state too where I hope they don't push something similar as to that law. But if something like let's say Bamboo Lab decides to, oh, for us to comply and that we still do business in like these 4 states, we're gonna have to force an update on you that doesn't live in these states to do this update. So therefore I'm like I would be feeding into or adding into the whole, I don't want my fucking machine to be attached to anything online. I want this to be as close into my own closed network as I possibly can. And Bamboo Lab, as a fucking customer complaint, can you please add an Ethernet port into your fucking devices? I love in this case the ability that I could send 3D print jobs through the cloud, but oh my god, would this be so much better if I can actually have an Ethernet port? This is just me from a customer complaint. Anyways,
What would be the difference?
Wouldn't be a difference, but I'd like to have the ability to do that. That's just it.
I suppose.
Yeah. So minor tangent aside. But do you think, Victor, that it will be a growing problem too? Like, if let's say for companies to comply with these bills too, that they would kind of use that as an excuse to force customers to buy their newer products?
Basically, what Apple's doing. Similar to what Apple's doing,
Yeah.
Those older iPhones where they keep updating it so that it slows all balls. Yeah.
Yeah.
Similar.
Holy shit. Yeah. It's like
Granted, it's for like the really old phones,
right.
so it's understandable. Well, regarding Bamboo Lab and the 3D printers, I mean, like I would say, as long as they support it for a certain amount of years first, after that, then it's fine. I mean, I'm sure that people still want to keep it for as long as possible, but I think there comes to a point in time where hardware also improves with the software, so
Right.
people will need to upgrade. So
Yeah. And this is also coming from this dude that like I'll even say it as well too. Maybe that's also on my part too, because I'm in Bamboo Lab that would feel this. I know there's a bunch of other people that own 3D printers that have effectively said too that like, oh no, my whole 3D printer does not connect at all to the internet. I actually built like a straight up like closed network itself too, where people that we watch too that are make their own home servers and whatnot, where they have a 3D printer that's attached to their home servers and it's just only there too. It doesn't really connect at all through the internet. So that's like it's a really cool stuff too that I really want to see more of, right? And even then too, how would you enforce something like that? Because it also makes it seem too that like any attempt to tamper or modify your 3D printer to not have these checks and features into it is going to be considered as a felony to do that. I'm like, what the fuck? And because it's
Problem
like it's
is, that's
assuming,
only
yeah,
if they know.
yeah, but it's like again, how the fuck would they know? Yeah,
They
because
won't.
like, but yeah, because like, here's the funny thing: how it works on the internet too. You see a device that's online too. You know what they could really just do? How you know that you can't track it? They just turn that shit off. What then?
Yeah.
It's like,
Well,
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 at
turn
least they'll.
off depend. When you mean you have to unplug it completely from power. If you just turn it off,
Yeah, yeah,
99% of the time it's still on.
yeah. It'll still receive signal, but straight up to you could just unplug it and then flash firmware over custom firmware over the 3D printer itself, and then it's like, oh, yeah, this thing
Well,
does not
no,
have one to do
because
so.
you need power.
Oh yeah. It's like, oh, like I said too, it was just something
Not easy.
entirely. Yeah, it's not easy, but at the same time, you can also like plug it in
I
somewhere that doesn't have like an internet connection. However, they're
mean,
also
there
saying
are
to,
ways to it. I mean, there are ways
yeah,
of doing it, but either
yeah,
way, I'm saying it's not as simple as you think.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I've heard too that like some people did make the argument of like, how would you also stop something like that if someone were to just plug their 3D printer in area too where they just don't can't connect to the internet, because that's also another way how they would like easily check it too, is that like if it's able to be tracked in the internet. But then that's why they threw in the clause that like they want these companies to develop some way built into the software firmware to do so. And I'm like, okay, then what's stopping in this case some other super tech savvy guy that just says, you know what, I'll throw in my own custom firmware over this. And it's like, and it becomes like again a race war now of people wanting to just be able to 3D print stuff without anyone knowing what the fuck they're doing, right? And that's like
Mhm.
part of like the privacy and whatnot. I respect that too. Not everybody is like maliciously just trying to like distribute ghost guns through everywhere too. And I'll be honest too. What do you think that's gonna actually stop to like 3D printing and subtractive manufacturing? That's like your only way that's going to solve like a lot of the gun issues. Literally, we just see what happened with Shinzo Abe, where his assassin just built a makeshift gun from just hardware parts. So in that case too, if we're gonna go down this rabbit hole that we're just gonna start restricting things that help produce manufacturing guns too, should we ban hacksaw? Should we ban hammers? Should we just ban department stores now or hardware stores now?
This is where you go down to that spiral of where it starts not to make sense anymore.
Yeah, it like I said, it's starting to not make sense anymore. But this is just me
You are not
criticizing, like,
making sense. I mean, like I said,
yeah,
overthinking things.
overthinking things too. But it's like the way how I'm wording this is the fact too that like when they make this distinction about like additive and subtractive manufacturing, yes, you target that too. But does that actually solve anything? I say it doesn't solve anything. So what do you do
Well,
to solve that? And it's like, what is this doing then too? Because this is obviously hindering a lot of people that are law-abiding citizens that are just wanting to 3D print as a hobby. And nowadays they're gonna have to be assumed by other government agencies that until otherwise you are a criminal unless you fucking upgrade your 3D printer or you do all these things to prove that you're not illegally printing parts. And it gets like a big loophole that I also think too that like this is another way how a lot of intellectual property companies do. Like for example, Games Workshop with Warhammer 40k. Now their fucking hobby is expensive because in order for you to play Warhammer 40k board games, you do buy like their plastic model kits that you hand paint yourself to. They always cost like a box of it is like $40 each, and you buy enough of them to make an army. So a basic army can cost someone $1,000 just to play the game, which sounds absurd in a
it
lot
is.
of ways. So 3D printing enables like actually being for anyone to be able to enter into this hobby without seeing that absurd price tags. But a while back, Games Workshop was sending out cease and desist to a lot of these 3D platform sites that would prevent people to be able to 3D print their own models. Instead of, what if you could just license the rights to print them to people?
Wouldn't matter.
Yeah, it wouldn't matter anyways. But this is just something too that like all this does too that like this is just gonna solidify control of other companies that can definitely change up the wording of it too to not only we're gonna be targeting guns, now we're just also gonna target anything that infringes on some intellectual properties. I'm looking at you, Nintendo, you son of a bitch.
Every company nowadays just really want to control their product, and it's kind of, I mean, understandable, but to a point where they're controlling their consumers too is a little too much.
Yeah, it's like we already see that shit like happening with Nintendo, and it's already bad enough as is. We don't need to grant like this type of scenario to them because that's what this law or the bill itself would in this case bleed into, and that's just something too that I do not think these guys actually care or know what the fuck they write to, that like they don't understand like the actual general repercussion this has for us. Now that's just me mostly venting about like how dumb these bills are, and me coming from this, I fucking love my 3D printing too, where I use it to help big cosplays too. But imagine too if I 3D printed that ODST helmet here, Victor, I get a cease and desist from fucking Microsoft.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what the fuck did I do? I'm not selling this. It's like, we need you to stop. I'm like, for what?
Yeah, that is. I mean, I get it. It's too much,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, but I don't think it will. It will definitely go down that route because this will definitely be
they're
very
not
much.
Nintendo.
Yeah, they're not Nintendo, and this would very much be anti-consumer practice here, just straight up. But we know that there are companies that do their best to try to like peel away that as much as they can, so that, like we said, they are trying their best to control the consumers as much as they can. Will that happen? We don't know yet, but needless to say, it's not a 0% chance that it won't happen, because there will definitely be one company that's gonna try to attempt some fucking bullshit like this. But I digress too. The thing with when it comes to like 3D printing too, they're not like, the community itself is not like your typical like hobbyist where it's just like, oh, we gotta do all these stuff and we will just be like, oh, we like technology stuff, but then we'll just see what happens, what the government does in the end too. These people are makers. They will just make shit. If it prevents them from doing the things that they want to do, they'll just make a workaround to this too. And what you also end up causing with something like this, you're going to actually make 3D printing become more of an illegal activity than it needed to be. So now you're going to have, now instead of ghost guns, you're now going to have ghost printers, which that itself is going to be an issue. They're like, oh, how do you solve in this case? Oh, well, if I can't buy a printer in California, I'll just go to the next state over and buy it there and move it over. Like, what happens then?
I don't know.
Yeah, because clearly, yeah, yeah, clearly too, the enforcement for this is not thought thoroughly enough too. Where like these are like the basic things that I've seen too, how people are gonna be able to avoid this type of shit too, which is realistically like, what is this even for? If people can like circumvent this, is this really an effective way to even do it? Then
Okay, so I think you can just, if that's the case, can't you just buy it from another state that
yes,
doesn't enforce these laws?
yes, that is straight up what's happening too. And it's like, oh, but you need to do other X, Y, and Z to prove it otherwise too. But it's like, what happens if they don't? And how can you prove that I didn't?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, yeah, like I said, this is going to cause even more problems than this was going to fix. Yeah, like I said too, my only fear about this too is that, like, yes, I acknowledge that ghost guns is a problem, but when you do this stuff too, it's going to make that problem worse now. As now you're going to have people that obviously they're not going to follow these laws in the first place. They're just going to find some ways to just do this without you knowing now. Like, hello?
Okay, a lot of these times laws are just to stop good people from doing these things. That's all.
Yeah.
Not even bad thing, just doing whatever the government don't want them to do.
Yeah.
That's all laws are really for. It's just for good people.
Yeah, and honestly too, like the only reason, at least tinfoil hat time, the only reason why I feel like something like this is being pushed to is the fact that this is hurting a lot of companies too that revolve around like selling a particular part or product at a premium price because they are the only sole manufacturer. There's no way you can reproduce this. Wait, what do you mean the Marine Lance Corporation made its own like radio antenna for $10 when it originally cost $5,000? So yeah. Anyways, that's how I feel like the only reason why it's being pushed this hard to in a lot of different states is definitely because they feel the pressure that it's also ruining their positions of like why they price this much. And I'm all for cost savings too. But obviously I feel the way how I'm looking at this is the hot take. The military does not want us having access to 3D printers. That is it.
I wouldn't say it's the military. I would definitely say it's the companies making things for the military.
Yeah, it's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I think also the military should learn how to not be scammed.
That's just a personal opinion, right?
No.
Well,
Hell no. When they're being charged like a couple $1,000s for a screw, fuck no. Fuck
fair
no, that's
enough.
not an opinion.
Yeah. Or like in this case, 50,000 for bushings
Yeah.
or a bag of
That's definitely
bushings.
not an opinion.
Yeah. Now, I hope that in this case too, that like there's definitely a lot of big advocacy groups that are pushing back against this because this is straight up just dumb. Like the bill itself is pretty much half baked. It does not actually address anything that they set itself out to address in the first place. And even in, let's just say, for example, too, yes, we agree that we need some type of way to like monitor a lot of this too. Again, trying to fucking do this at a broad sweep does not fix this particular issue. And we could have a topic about like gun control itself too, but this is not it.
Not today.
Yeah, maybe not today. But if anything too, it
Actually,
would be
technically never.
fair enough too.
We
Because we
already,
have
they already know our answer. No need
yeah,
to
yeah.
sit to talk about it.
Yeah, we are a believer of having ownership of our own firearms too, and we will be, in this case, law-abiding citizens to comply with it so that we can keep ownership of what we have. I am okay with that too. Like, let's just say, for example, if I need to, like, say, if I have to need to register too, but as long as like nothing else is required of me and I can still do whatever I want to after registering, fuck it, why not, right? I just need to make sure that like if I do this, I also maintain, consumer protection rights against like fucking companies that want to fuck me over.
Mm-hmm.
That is all I ask for. If what you want to do is that, I'm like, fine. A lot of our information is already out there on the internet anyways.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
I just want to be able to fucking print my own figurines or even go to next level too. I like building gunpla stuff too. I want to 3D print custom gunpla pieces that I can add to my model kits. That is sick. I love that idea potential too. But I would rather not want to see fucking Sunrise Entertainment send me cease and desist or SWAT team to fucking beat my ass in and take my 3D printer if I try to attempt to 3D print a replacement part. That is all I ask for. Just something like that. That's not a very hard ask in the first place, no?
Yeah, super hard, bro. That's why this is a problem.
God damn it. Like, this is going to be a little bit of tangent too, where, like, do you think, like, 3D printing technology like this too, is it better that they have some built-in protections too, or are you also the advocate that, like, it's a hardware part or it's a hardware machine too? I should be able to do whatever the fuck I want with it after like I buy like $500 to it.
The hit or miss. Like,
It's a hitter.
I get their concern. That's the problem.
Mm-hmm.
But I also get that you can't just do a blanket coverage of stopping everyone from using their 3D printers.
Or not even that too. Just stop anybody that wants to use CNC machines because again, the bill also targets
like I said,
that.
that's not going to happen.
Yeah, because unfortunately, the bill also targets that too. Like apparently CNC lathe machines too that aid in production of firearms, which is like unfortunately that's a lot of things.
Unfortunately, there are companies over there building guns, and they're not going to be building guns over there anymore.
Yeah, so
that's all I got out of this.
Yeah, because that's all this really that ends up
but
happening.
In reality, that's what companies, they can move or they can lobby. That's not our problem. Because CNC machines, I don't think any normal person would have. Like, very few normal people would have them.
Yeah, not very many would have them. But recently, too, there has been like other companies that want to provide like the same way how I bought my 3D printer. They want to make something of that scale available in CNC format. So there's fun stuff about this too that I'm actually excited with the way how 3D printers are, even though in my honest opinion, it did die down a lot ever since its first initial adoption. But that's only because it's a developing technology. Like, when we talk about AI, it's like a developing technology that we're still working out kinks. We're still trying to figure things out. We just now figured out a really cool way how we can actually 3D print in more than 4 colors.
Yep.
So that's great. I love that shit. But clearly too, it's something that I would rather hope that like it gets readdressed, and it definitely the wording of it does change to allow like more room for us to at least express that, hey, we will in this case comply if we have to, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just please with the promise that you also protect us as well. That is the whole goal about this. You want us to report this so that it protects other people, cool. We want you to also protect us as well. That seems fair, no? Because, we are also part of that group of people that would be affected by someone that uses a ghost gun.
Yeah.
So that's just me thinking that hey, we should probably do this too. This is also already on top of the fact too that they want to have OS makers instill some type of age verification on installation. For example, Linux, they want to somehow make that have age verification, which is what? But yeah, it gets a little bit more crazy too. And now for the positive side, that at least I will go through with this too. I think right now 3D printing has come a long way too. And we have seen many potentials that this thing or what this technology can provide for us too. For one example too, for a part that would be very expensive too, if you know how to do it too, and you know your materials, and it's you're an engineer, you know these things too, you can literally make this stuff yourself more easily than you would before. So there's a bunch of that too. And also for people that want to figure out their own products that they were trying to develop and try to make themselves do, 3D printing is an excellent way of rapidly prototyping. I've been following this one dude that open source his own version of a biomechanical hand that he's just working as a fun project. But there's so many people that take that design too and they've improved upon it, and it's fucking cool. I love open sourceness that 3D printing offers. That's just great to hear too. And it's the same thing that applies to software, no?
Yeah.
So I just don't want us to or I just don't want me, in particular me, because I have a 3D printer, right? I'm not going to be fucking swatted for this shit. To be honest, I feel I'll be.
That happens.
God damn it, no. And I know it's not even going to be about the 3D printer. You just wanted to come in. It's you bastard.
Yes, sir.
God damn it, no.
Get out on the ground, Brian.
Oh no. But if anything too, the realistic part about me making this video too is that I wanted to kind of spread awareness of this too. I'm not gonna try to force people to panic, even though that's what it feels like I did for the most part. Realistically too, the realism approach about this, I don't think it's gonna go as far as I think it was going to, but there's still a non-0% chance that it can go that way. But there is still hope that people can do, such as the fact that if you're old enough like I am too, then it still is a thing to actually everyone from all ages. If you want to show your concern, fucking email your fucking congressman to set up a botnet and start spamming messages to them to annoy them. Actually, don't do that last part. That might actually get you fucking arrested, maybe.
Probably.
So just send, in this case, a very concerned message that you see what's happening to you, and you're asking them if they have a say about this too. Because guess what? Even though it's oh, these people don't actually listen to us, they still care about you because, your vote counts. So they would try to, do as much as they can to see if they can secure your vote. So whatever the case may be too, however you feel about it too, I'd say that's still an avenue, an option that we could still participate. And obviously the bill itself is widely unpopular itself too. Like I mentioned before, other interest groups are very much pushing back against this. Hell, we even have some of the gun community people too, people that are big in that shit, are also defending us. So there's that.
Mm-hmm.
So we got a lot of stuff going on too. And if for people that are interested in 3D printing as a hobby too, do a lot of research is the best word I got for you. It's yes, it would be very simple and easy if I just gave you a recommendation easy enough too. But hell, I wouldn't even necessarily recommend people to get a bamboo lab themselves too, just because, from my opinion, I don't necessarily trust a lot of their information or how they maintain information as a policy base. But they're also the best brand out there, as I would consider them being the Apple of 3D printing. That is my best word.
Is there another brand that makes, I guess, local only 3D printers?
Technically, Prusa does. Prusa or not Creality. I think Creality is almost the same level as Bamboo Lab, but Prusa would definitely be that too, because they would send you the parts and they give you all of the basic computer chip board and all the aluminum chassis parts to just build your 3D printers yourself. Like they don't ship you a completed product. It's like, here you go, here's all the parts, here's the instructions, good luck. Because realistically, all it really needs to do is that like it needs to just have the firmware to make sure that the 3D printer runs. Because a lot of that is handled on the computer and the software coming from the 3D slicer, which is just a way how we can view the models in the first place, and we can adjust or tell the 3D printer what to do about it. Because hot take here, 3D printers is nothing more than just a very much a CNC machine that you could go up and down with.
Mm-hmm.
So for all the people,
instead of removing things, it's adding things.
yeah. Also, will I get into 3D printing housing? Fuck no. If anything, too, I wish there's more action development or more time developing that technology further, because obviously there's definitely a better concrete mix. There's a better concrete mixture. There's a better concrete mixture technology that can definitely work with 3D printing. As of right now, it's still not there yet, but I'm glad that we're doing it.
Yeah, I mean, they're able to build neighborhoods with it nowadays, so it's working.
We'll see how long it'll last too. And if it doesn't last that long, that's not a negative towards the fact that 3D printing doesn't work. It's still a developing technology. God damn it. It's like people that play fucking beta testing game complaining that the game feels unfinished. Of course, it's a fucking beta testing game. Oh my god.
Hey man. I think eventually we'll live in 3D printed houses.
Oh yeah, that's
and I would enjoy that more than just living in a house that's just made from a bunch of sticks. So
I mean, yeah. I still like that in this case too, if we could combine the technology, you know? Like if we could combine like the best of both things, that'd be honestly perfect. But you know,
how do you combine wood and concrete?
We'll figure that part out. That's more or less like the practice than like us developing technology for it. So we're getting still trying to figure all this stuff as well. I'm part of like now the maker space of this community. The more I really think about this, and that also means too that like I have certain opinions about other topics of like I think you yourself should have full ownership of the things that you buy, and if there's a company that doesn't let you do that, I think you should have the ability to know how to make the product yourselves. Like that's why all these open source stuff is so amazing to have access to. But obviously the open source nature for certain companies, they see as a threat in a lot of ways. Now, I won't go into further to like allegedly that there's not a movement that's trying to sabotage the open source community just so that they can have you as like a forced customer to buy their products, even though you never wanted to in the first place. Yet here we are now. So I'd say 3D printers are fucking awesome to do your research. If I were to at least give a top 3 recommendations, what kind of products or brands that you should look into for your first 3D printer, I would say look into Creality, Prusa, and then Bamboo Lab. Bamboo Lab is literally like it comes right out the box and it works immediately. Like that's the best thing that you get out of it. That's what I like about mine at the moment. But if I did have the option for it, I would go for Creality because it is also starting to get cheaper now too. So do your research on how a lot of that too, know how to do material science, learn some basic engineering principle or engineering designs too. It's not hard. You can literally find a video of like, how do I clip a block to have like a dent in the circle with the circle thing too. There's so many videos out there too. And it's like, yeah. So it's like, oh, but I need to pay like software. I need to pay software like Adobe or Autodesk in order to design parts. No, you fucking don't. You have FreeCAD. You have, in this case, other methods that you can figure this out too. In my honest opinion, I would do my absolute best to avoid Autodesk. Fuck their bloated software and their bullshit features that they keep taking away of AutoCAD to put it into other softwares that becomes incompatible in the first place when I try to export it. I hate it here, damn it.
Okay, there, calm down.
Sorry, this is me kind of venting about the stuff that I had to force to deal with too as a professional engineer.
Oh, what?
Don't worry about that.
Oh, what?
No, okay. Disclaimer: I'm not a official professional engineer based on the fact I don't have a professional engineering license, but I am at least working in a professional field. Hey, fuck you. I feel like my opinion is pretty much how everybody else kind of feels about this too. Autodesk is if I can make a customer complaint to you, if you're listening to this, holy fucking shit, I hate your software. It's so bloated with so much useless features on there too. Not even for the cases that what I'm using to work with too. I can't load anything that's around 100 megabytes, and it literally chugs my entire work laptop. That's 64 gigs of RAM.
That's all right, bro. They ain't gonna listen to you. You know
Yeah,
how hard they
because
make it. Just they charge a installation fee, early termination fee. They're not gonna listen to you.
both Autodesk and Adobe should burn in hell. That's all I got. God damn it. But knowing this too, I do wish to see more stuff with 3D printing. Hell, if anything too, Victor, if I get the correct materials, I'll fucking 3D print you your entire server rack.
Hell no. You know how heavy that thing is?
We can find a material to withstand that. There are, if anything,
Bro,
material has gotten better.
I barely trust my heavy duty ass steel rack from not breaking down. So I don't know, man.
Don't worry
I don't know about that one.
Okay, maybe if anything, if we're not running our own local LLMs, if it was just something like a simple NAS, maybe that's more possible.
If you want to do one of those mini server racks, yeah, that'd be fine.
Yeah. But yeah, if anything too, well, this is more like a pending idea too. Please don't take this idea. Please, I'm working on getting it trademarked right now.
What do you mean, bro? They already exist.
God damn it. Yeah, anyways, I'm not a patent troll, I swear.
But yes. We're just stealing ideas.
No, but yes. No, well, actually, no, I'm not stealing ideas, all right? To be fair, though, the idea itself of me talking about this original topic was definitely from someone else that was trying to, like, kind of give exposure to this. So, you know what? I'm just helping bring out exposure to this, too. And for people that want to get into 3D printing, go for it. It's actually an amazing hobby, too. For cosplays, for doing any design work. Hell, even if you want to, like, prototype products, too. That's amazing. Do that too. And also, I would love to see a lot of your submissions too, like on pages like Prusa 3D Labs, or I think it was like Printable. Yeah, 3dprintables.com too. I love going there too, see what people make as well. Shit is awesome. And hell, maybe if you're not designing all that stuff too, maybe you want to design stuff for your home too, like fucking make another coaster or cup. That is something you can do. 3D printing allows you to do so much more. People are like, what do you do with 3D printers? I don't fucking know. There's so many things you can do with it. You won't know it until you actually think about it. You're like, oh wait, I could just 3D print this, and boom, there you go. That's literally the mindset too that not a lot of people think about.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like it's hard to explain to people like what do you normally print with 3D printers. So, like them saying anything and they don't like that answer, but it's true. You can literally print anything. You just gotta understand and do the research and time of what is it that you want. Because a 3D printer is not gonna just be that easy information of, hey, I want you to print something for me that fits this criteria needs. You have to do the work. That's why I love it too. You have to do the work. You have to figure out what is it that you want to. Does it exist anywhere online? No. Oh, right. Can I design it? Yeah. What do I need to use? This is so fun. But I digress too. I hope that the bill itself doesn't fucking hinder my fucking hobby too and everybody else's. And I do wish for this makerspace group to grow even further, right? Because it is a growing community, and I'm glad to be a part of this. Because is this how you feel too with like your software or open source software too? You're just making shit as well.
Yeah, it's the same thing.
Yeah. So if anything, we are allies in that regard.
We are.
So why the fuck did you call SWAT on me?
No, why not?
Yeah, you bitch. But yes, if anything, before we do at least end this recording too, do you have a closing statement?
I understand your concern, but software is a lot easier to regulate. So people that are in the software side of things are going to have way more problems.
That's a fair point too. But there are right now companies out there too, to our dismay, that have provided service that they can actually scan it. They have a database of geometries that they scan through so that they can offer to these 3D company website or 3D printing companies if they want to prove otherwise, or they comply with it too. So however people feel about this.
I still don't know how they're going to do, how they're going to stop people from 3D printing shit. I really don't know.
Yeah, like I said too, it's like we understand the idea. We'll see how this turns out too, because we hope that there's going to be multiple versions of this, and this is not like the final draft. So until then, too,
like people can just literally just like go to some CAD software, design it themselves, and print it out without having to go over the internet.
Yeah, and that's just another thing too. Like, how are you going to prevent that if someone actually just made their own original?
Yeah.
So that's a fun thing too that not a lot of people understand about that. Like I said, comes from a lack of understanding how the technology works. So we'll see. I hope that like this is not the final draft of this bill. So if you don't hear back from me too, I definitely did not incite any violence at all too. So leave it at that.
Either that, or I called SWAT on him, whichever comes first.
God damn it. Anyways, thank you all for tuning in, for me ranting, and also for giving me an amount of your time to give you some exposure about this problem. And also, hopefully, if I convert you to become part of the makerspace community. So, anyways, thank you all and have a wonderful evening.